Oh shit. Are you serious? Testing, testing. 1, 2, 3, baby. We are in the building. Let's fucking go. Okay, where have I been for the past 2 months? I know. I literally told you guys I was moving and then I just fell off the face of the earth and I have to apologize. This has been the summer of awakening for me in terms of my bandwidth, my workload, my vision, my priorities. So much has happened this year and the last thing I had clarity on this summer was the podcast. And don't get me wrong, you're like, Taylor, all you do on this podcast is rant anyways. What's the big deal? My point was, I was feeling disconnected and we were in this huge life move. The last episode I left you guys with, we were moving. Ta-da! If you're watching on YouTube, welcome to the new HQ. I'm loving the space. I'm really excited. I have some really cool things up my sleeve in terms of this room and kind of making it into a little podcasting space. But I am back and I have so many thoughts and so many things to tell you and so many stories that we have missed out on in the past 2 months. So, first and foremost, I just want to say I have fucking missed you guys. And I feel like podcasting really became like a therapy for me, being able to just kind of connect here and talk about things that I don't get to talk about all the time, especially because of the fact that I am still home pretty much 24/7. I've been a little bit more out and about this summer in terms of travel and like getting out and doing stuff with the family, but especially since we moved, I feel like my life revolves around my children and my home. And I feel like sometimes I just need to talk about adult shit. You know what I mean? Like, not business stuff, not what my kid ate for lunch, and oh my God, cool, like little magnetic track you made. It's so cute. Don't get me wrong, I love my children. God bless them. But I'm just like, it's good to be able to just sit in front of this mic, pretend that I'm here with a nice cold I was going to say beer, but I wouldn't really be drinking a beer, a nice glass of wine, hanging out with my girls and going in on our lives. And I really, really fucking miss that. And let me be honest, I've been kind of lonely lately. Not in the sense of like my boyfriend and me and Josh are going strong. Our 5-year anniversary is coming up in less than a month. How crazy. I cannot wait for you guys to hear from him because we might just be doing a little something together on the pod too. I know it sounds different, but our 5-year anniversary is coming up and we're doing great. Side thought, and I'll come back to why I was feeling lonely. I just found out that my this is crazy. I just found out that my boyfriend's baby mama listened to my podcast and I mean, we co-parent. My stepdaughter, I've been in her life for the past 5 years almost, and we co-parent, but we have main custody of her, of my stepdaughter. And I don't even call her my stepdaughter. Like in real life, she's my daughter. She's my bonus kid. I've talked about it on the podcast. She comes home. Mind you, my daughter's almost 9, but she is like my mini me. Okay. She wears the bucket hats. She's got her canvas tote. Today, I walked downstairs. She's wearing like this cute tank top, pants, white cargo pants, a pair of freaking high top Jordans, like this baby pink color. And she had her long golden locks down. I'm like, girl, who are you? You're so fucking cool. Anywho, she comes home from her mom's house and she's like, by the way, my mom looked up your podcast. And I'm like, oh God, here's all I need in my life is my man's baby mama keeping tabs on me. But things are good. Things are good. Why I've been feeling lonely, I haven't really had many friends. That sounds so depressing. I have 0 friends. I have a lot of friends online. I don't know about you guys, but do you miss the Tumblr era when we just had like friends all over the world that we didn't know? And your mom, you're like 13 and you're teenage angst and you're sitting at dinner and your mom's like, what are you doing in your room all day? And you're like, I'm talking to Anne, okay? We both tumbled the same fucking quote today from our favorite band and we need to go talk about boys. That's what I feel like with all my friends online. I feel like I have so many amazing women in my life, but I don't actually get to see them in real life. Like, yes, I see them on the phone, and like even some of my friends I'll FaceTime, or like we'll send each other like pictures, or DM each other and like text each other. But I really don't have any friends like in person. And speaking of the move and summertime and being out of our routines and the kids are out of school, and I just feel like my life the past 2 months have just been a lot. And I want to let you know, I want to just say this. It is oh freaking K. It's oh freaking K to admit that you're a little bored or like overwhelmed or tired of your current life. And not to say that you don't like your life or like you don't want to have your life or that you would change it or that you're complaining, but like it's okay to admit, like, oh my God, these kids are driving me insane. Or, oh my gosh, business is really fucking hard right now and it's really difficult. Or, oh my gosh, I love my life, but me and my man, we just can't seem to get on the same page recently. Not literally, but those are the kind of circumstances it's okay to be like, you don't have to love everything about your life, but also not want to change it. I think there are just seasons where we get in these, whether they're creative ruts or we get in misalignment or we're just not in our normal rhythm or we're overwhelmed by certain circumstances where things just hit different. You know what I'm saying? Just like hitting different. For me, the summer has been a lot of trying to stay on routine when it's really hard to stay on routine. And I know it's such a silly thing to complain about, but I am learning about myself. I thrive on routine. I always knew I kind of thrived on routine because I was always that type A kind of kid, but I'm really learning now that like keeping that routine in check, whether it's even just day to day, like my routine with the gym, my routine with work, routine even with like my family and the kids or my man, without that routine, I will easily overwhelm myself by taking on too much or by not like actually getting the right rest and recovery I need. Like even this past week, we were recently traveling in Illinois. Dear God, if there's one thing I would never wish on my worst enemy, it would be solo parenting traveling with a 3-year-old. My man could not go, but we were visiting his family, kind of like a family reunion thing going on in the most random city, Peoria, Illinois, which apparently is an interesting place because all around it are the very what we would call racist. His family's not racist, but that town is historically racist. So we went to Illinois and Josh couldn't go. He had work. So I'm with Josh's family and I'm the one parenting my son who is almost 4. And when I tell you, I thought whoever is up in the clouds, Jesus, God, whoever you believe in, was punishing me for whatever I did. I don't even know, but it was an absolute dumpster fire. Let me just tell you this little quick story and then we'll get back right on track. Let me tell you what this rental company did to me and my cousin-in-law. This was Avis car rental. I don't ever rent cars. I don't ever go anywhere, but apparently they're one of the car places you can rent from in an airport, right? Well, we had so many people on this trip and we ended up having 2 kids under 4. Well, my boyfriend's cousin, she has children right around the same age as our kids, and her son's 4, my son's about to be 4. So they're both in car seats still. And we had rented 2 vehicles for the trip. So we had half of our family in one vehicle, half of them in the other. My cousin is the one who had rented the vehicle with the 2 car seats. So we could just ride together. We have both the boys. We were both solo parenting that day. Her husband wasn't there yet. Josh wasn't coming at all. So we had one car with my mother-in-law and the girls, the older girls, the kids. And then you have me and Amy, my cousin-in-law, and our 2 crazy fucking boys. We get out of the airport. We're in Chicago. Oh, no, sorry. We're in Chicago airport. We were driving from Chicago to Peoria, Illinois, which is a 2.5-hour drive. We had just been traveling, mind you. We woke up at 3 a.m. 3 a.m. on a Saturday, and I had a car pick us up. I didn't have a car. My mother-in-law had a car. Pick me and my son up at 3 a.m. It was like 3 or 4 go to the Houston airport, fly to Chicago, land in Chicago, 2.5 hour drive to Peoria. Half the family goes, they're in their vehicle, they've already left. They're like, hey, we'll meet you. You guys get your vehicles. We'll both let's stop and get like food and then we'll figure out where we're going to go. We get to our car rental, Avis. Tell me why. She had prepaid, pre rented this vehicle with 2 car seats like weeks in advance. We get up to the car rental desk, and little Susie Sue, sweet little dear thing, tells us, mind you, me and Amy have been traveling at this point for like 8 hours, 6 hours, something like that, with 2 3-year-olds, 3 and 4 boys, rambunctious as fuck, and tells us, oh, actually, we don't have any car seats. So, like, what do y'all want to do? I am non-confrontational. If you know me, you know I do not like confrontation. I do not like to argue. I don't like people be mad at me. I will stand my ground now that I'm getting older. I feel like I can stand my ground a little bit more. My cousin-in-law, however, she's a firecracker. She's like, "What the fuck do you mean you don't have any car seats?" They tell us that we could just drive with them in the buckle and drive to a store and purchase our own car seats with our own money. They're 3 and 4. It is literally illegal in the state of Illinois to drive with a kid not in a booster seat under the age of 9. And also, they're like 35 pounds. So they literally were like, oh, yeah, you could just take your children, endanger them, and then go spend $500 on 2 car seats and then return them to us and let us know how it goes. That was absolutely insane. And I should have just known that that was going to set off a series of events on this trip. It was an amazing trip. Loved the trip. But my son tested every single patient fiber in my absolutely being. And it is the craziest thing being a parent and being a mom with a son. I just feel like there's this bond. It is a wonder how I can love this tiny thing with every inch of my soul and simultaneously want to absolutely pull every hair out of my body and lock him away in a closet. I would never do that. Do not trip on this. Someone's like going to call CPS and maybe like her son is locked in a closet. All I'm saying is my patients were tested. And so, on top of already feeling all of the things this summer, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm feeling disappointed in myself, honestly, because I felt like I let my podcast down. And it wasn't even like I let anyone down. No one is, I feel like podcasting is weird because in my position, I'm not being paid for this. No one's like waiting on me to put out a podcast. Like I don't answer to anyone. It's just my podcast and it's fun and I like it. But I disappointed myself. Like I felt like I let myself down and maybe let some of you guys down. I didn't even say anything when I had my little hiatus. And so I'm already feeling that. Business has been business, amazing, good, chef's kiss, but also very overwhelming and always seasons and changes going on over there. Now I'm feeling also like a guilty parent. I feel like I've been dealing with mom guilt so much this summer of just like, fuck, like I'm not spending enough time with them. I'm spending too much time working, but if I don't work, I can't make money. And then I'm over here trying to yell, but then I need a gentle parent, but gentle parenting doesn't work. And then, oh my God, my kid won't eat. All he eats is chicken nuggets. He's so skinny. What am I supposed to do? I'm just like, these thoughts are the thoughts that play in my head on record all day long. And it's a wonder. It's no wonder women are so high anxiety functioning because we carry the fucking world on our shoulders. I'm pretty sure this was the old water I've had on my desk for like a week because it's very warm. And this one over here has ice in it. I feel like we just carry the world on our fucking shoulders. And the one thing I am learning, and let me just actually go into it. Let me just tell you 3 things I've learned this summer, like really have truly kind of nailed into myself because they're things I already knew, but things I have had to continuously remind myself this summer when there's lots of things overwhelming me and I'm still wanting to perform and I'm still wanting to be my best and I'm still wanting to make sure that I'm living up to all the things I've committed to myself, me, not anyone else, not what anyone else has thought of me or considered of me or what expectations they have. I hold myself to a certain standard and I need to operate at that standard. But one of the things I'm learning is to be honest with the people around you. I recently was just telling my man, I'm like, babe, I am just so overwhelmed. Like, I just feel, and I just kind of like let it out. I need a good cry. I'm being emotional. Like, I feel overwhelmed here, or this there, and that there. And like, just expressing with someone else how you feel, it's like one piece of the burden being lifted. And if you haven't done that in a while, confide in someone, bro. Like, confide in a friend, confide in your loved one. Like, tell someone around you what you're struggling with. Because even if there's not like an immediate resolution that they can provide, which usually I feel like a lot of us don't always confide because we're looking for advice. Sometimes we confide because we're looking for support. We're just looking for love. We're just looking for a response, right? Whatever we need. I feel like the people around us can really show empathy in a way that's pretty powerful, and we can't let they won't be able to do that if we don't tell them. If you're a mom right now who's struggling because you feel overwhelmed and you haven't had that conversation with your partner, how are they supposed to know, right? I mean, we just assume that people around us can just read us like a book. And I know for myself, I hide shit well. I'm pretty sure we all do. We all know how to disassociate and cover shit up. People aren't mind readers. Your husband doesn't know when you've had a rough day if he's been at work. You know what I mean? Your kid doesn't know why you have a short temper because you didn't get any sleep last night and you're really really exhausted. Your boss doesn't understand why today your mood isn't all the way up because you're going through a difficulty in your relationship. And I think, of course, with the right boundaries, we can speak up for ourselves and just be honest. And a lot of times when we have to be honest with the people around us, that's requiring us to be honest with ourselves first and foremost, right? If you're lying to the people around you who you can actually confide in, right? If my husband, I'm saying my husband, I'm not even married. If my man says, "Hey, what's wrong?" And I just keep saying, "Oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Oh, nothing. Nothing's wrong," which I do this, by the way. And I get annoyed when I do this. I don't even know why I do this. And he's like, "Why do you do that?" Like, I don't know. I want you to read my mind. I want you to know exactly what's wrong with me, babe. Anyways, people don't know what's wrong with you. And when you keep telling someone, I don't know, no, nothing, nothing, you're just lying to yourself, right? It's okay to be honest with yourself. It's okay to admit like you can't do everything. News flash for all of my type A generators, manifesting generators, whatever you want to label it, for all my high functioning people, you cannot do everything. There will be, even if you think you can for a while, it's not maintainable. Doing everything perfectly forever is not realistic. And so either you have to take breaks, you have to ask for help, or you need to power through it and know that it's not always going to be at 100% because you can't operate at 100% of the time. Just because we're prone to outside things happening, right? Outside circumstances. Life happens. Like, I feel like some of the things I've been dealing with this summer are just life things. Like moving, fuck. The amount of things that we have to do when you move, and it sounds so sorry, I'm adjusting my light. It sounds so, I don't know, first world problem, but we can't control every circumstance. So you can't expect things to be perfect all the time. And I think being honest is a good place to start. Secondly, for the love of God, can we get out of our freaking cave of an office, get out of the house, go outside, move your body, do something different, switch it up, find a hobby. Like, I'm preaching because I'm talking to myself, because I get in these seasons where I'm overwhelmed and then I'm like, "Oh my God, like what's wrong with me?" And I'm like, "Duh, Taylor, because you literally don't do anything different. Like, you do the same things where you get in these habits and you put yourself in a tiny corner and you load all this shit on your back and you don't do anything fun, like just for you to just get out and see something different." That's the thing too. Like, I feel in the past month or so, I was kind of in a creative rut only because I was burdened by a lot of things, right? I had a lot on my to-do list. And I feel like when I'm too overwhelmed with things on the list, my creativity kind of runs dry. And I realize if you don't change your scenery on a regular basis, it's kind of hard to stay creative, like, honestly. And I'm not saying you have to go travel and get out of your house all the time. Like, that's not always feasible. We don't have endless amounts of money and places to go, and we have lives. But changing your scenery and doing something different, if that means, one day you decide, I'm going to go work outside today instead of sitting in my office, or I'm going to, instead of watching the same type of TV shows and movies, I'm going to watch something a little bit different outside of my comfort zone. I'm going to read a different type of book. I'm going to go to a new type of workout class. I'm going to take on a new hobby. I'm going to go somewhere I would never really eat. Those changes in scenery for me can spark excitement. And I'm feeling that too from our trip to Illinois, because when we were in Peoria, it's like a farm town. And I was obsessed with the farm and the change of pace and just like being in this different environment. I left while I was stressed AF with my child, and I'm like, oh my God, I need a break. I was also feeling more creative than I had in a minute in the same four walls I'm sitting in. And don't get me wrong, like I love my house. I'm so grateful for it. And I'm so grateful I've have the ability to make spaces in my home where I feel inspired, but there's nothing like a change of scenery in some way. And you know what else? The last thing I've really learned this summer while I've been gone from you guys and I've missed you is I have to ask myself this regularly when I'm like, there's just so much going on. I don't even know where to start. Maybe you're deep in with work, you have a business, maybe you have a family, like whatever it is you have going on, I can probably guarantee you have a lot going on. And there has been a time this year so far at some point where you have been overwhelmed with all the things you need to do. They're endless. It never fucking ends. It is absolutely insane how much stuff we have to do. Like just as people, I'm like the amount of meetings and appointments and like sometimes the life of just like moving to a I don't know, a communist. No, wait, what? I swear I'm not a communist. Fuck. A commune? Is that what they're called when you live a combine? What is the word? When you move to like a little village and like everyone there is granola and they love each other and it's like woohoo, we like make our own food and like sow our own stuff and we live in the mountains and we like smoke weed. Like that's what I envision would be like a perfect like safe haven just from all of the stuff. There's just so much stuff. Regardless, when I am just deep in it and I'm like I don't even know where to start, I have to ask myself this, and this is a really great question to ask yourself with any like project or like list you need to tackle or just thing you need to get to. What are three things, just three that you can do right now, today, to move the needle? Just three things today. I'm not asking you to do tomorrow. I'm not asking you to do the whole list. I'm just asking you to do three of those things and pick the things that are going to move the needle the most that you can do today. I think we get really caught up in like trying to have it all planned out. And I operated that way for a long time, like just wanting to pretend I knew everything. Like I have everything planned out, my whole life plan. It's not realistic. And I think I get into that same mindset where I try to plan out this whole process for anything I'm walking through. Like if it's a business project, I'm like, okay, I'll do this today and then I'll do that tomorrow and then I'll go here and I'll do that. And yes, while there is a time and a place for a plan, I'm not saying fuck a plan, go with the wind and just free ball your business or your life or your plans. What I am saying is that sometimes we overcomplicate it and we need to get back to the basics of what we can do right now. What can we tackle today? And then what can we tackle tomorrow? And then once tomorrow comes, what can we tackle next week, right? Yes, we can evaluate the big picture, but I know for me, and maybe it's more of a personality thing, I'm kind of curious now to hear if any of you feel this way, but I feel like I operate when I don't see the whole picture, like when I'm not trying to see the full specifics, right? Like I know one day I want to have this or that, but like I'm going to see the first three steps of the ladder. But then if I start adding every single step into there, I start to feel overwhelmed. I'm like, oh my God, there are so many steps to get to this next place or this next phase or this next thing. Ooh, it's too much. And I've learned for myself, I can really focus on what's happening right now, what's happening immediately after that. And then really everything else is going to kind of play it by ear. I mean, we can only create so many different versions of the future when it comes to things that we're working on and our lists and our life and our to-dos and just the daily shit that we have to work with. But when we're so focused on like, for me at least, this expectation of the future that usually is influenced by your past anyways and your fucking what you know, everything can just get cloudy. Like just focusing on what can I do now? And that's also something I love about the fitness journey too. It's like you can say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do in 6 months, but you don't really know. Like you can say, what can I do today, this week? Like what habits can I say yes to today and no to today? What do my muscles look like today? You can't plan for what your body's gonna look like in 6 months. You have no clue. You can obviously prep and prepare and work on a plan, but you don't really know until you've tried it. And I feel like that's the same thing I'm learning just in my life in general of taking it a step at a time, focusing on what steps can I take forward. And it's such like the elementary topic, like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It couldn't be more true. I have felt like that more times than not this summer alone. But looking at where I am today, mid July, from where I was beginning of May, I've made leaps. Did it feel like leaps? Hell no. It felt like baby steps, grinding little baby steps on beds of nails. But we're here and I'm doing it anyways. And even when you fuck up and you fail, you just pick yourself back up, sis, and you keep going anyways. You just keep working at shit. You don't have to have it all figured out. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have every single thing done exactly right because guess what? It probably won't work out perfectly how you thought it will anyway. So just go for it. That's how I'm feeling even now with this podcast. I'm like, bro, I feel embarrassed. I took 2 months off my podcast. People probably are like, oh, well, she thinks this. Who gives a fuck what anyone thinks? What do I want? Does this make me happy? Is this aligned with where I want to go? Then get right back into it. And when you put your all into something, it will reflect. It's okay to have a failure. It's what you do after the failure that makes a difference. And I just want you to know, if you're watching, if you're listening, hello, hi, I missed you. You can do literally anything you want to do. Like I am still shocked at the people I work with and their stories or like even my life. I'm like 5 years ago, sis, I was bartending in a strip club, depressed, making, I was in debt. I wasn't making money actually at the bar. I was making good money, but my morals were compromised in a lot of situations of just what I allowed myself to be around, the person I was. I was depressed. I was unhealthy as fuck. I didn't really care about a lot of things. And to know what I know now, I would have never, ever believed any of the things. If I could look at myself from the past, I would be shocked. I'd be like, no way. Not that I didn't believe I could do that, but just because I didn't think I would do it. Like I didn't think I would actually like is that even me? When you just allow yourself to just follow through with the things that light you up and bring you joy and the things that you say yes to and the things that you want to become, there is even greater things in store. I think everyone has that story of I started this thing and I put my all into it and it turned into a fucking machine, right? Like the people that you're inspired by, the people I'm inspired by, it started as a little tiny thing and they failed and they messed up and they embarrassed themselves and they picked themselves back up and they did it again and they kept going and they kept going and they kept going and they kept fucking going. That is the point. Just keep swimming, just keep swimming. I've literally been saying that this whole summer to people like randomly because I'm like, I have definitely been swimming. Not literally, I'm so pasty. It's absolutely embarrassing. I am muscular though, if you're watching me on YouTube. Quick little flex. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up because that was 30 minutes of straight unhinged. This is what people want on Threads, I guess, but I'm doing it here. This is the podcast. You already know where to find me at my newsletter, Earn After Reading. If you go to chanelandlee.com/newsletter, I'll drop it down below. If you're ever wondering what I'm up to, I send the newsletter out on Wednesdays, and it's just as equally unhinged as I am here. It's a little more business focused usually since it is for my business, but I've missed you guys and I've missed being able to just tell it like it fucking is. But here's what's happening from here on out. The podcast is here to stay. Again, episodes every week on Fridays, most Fridays. We'll see how the timeline goes if we need to switch that up. However, I'm introducing some new segments and I have so many guests. I have not been inactive the past 2 months. I've been recording and I have recorded some insane guests for you that I cannot wait to share topics on: mental health, spirituality, therapy, girl talk, literally so many cool things and much more to come. So, if you have enjoyed the podcast, you already know what the best way to support is. Share, like, subscribe, tell a friend. Share it with someone you love, someone who needs a little girly pep talk. If you have a topic that you want to hear about on the mental health topic, on fitness, on wellness, or a story that you're interested in, shoot me a DM. You can follow me at Ironically Serious Pod. Or if you have a guest that you want to hear from, if you have someone that in mind that you are like, I would love to hear you two talk or have a specific conversation about a topic, shoot them my way. I have been really enjoying my guest interviews and I'm going to keep pumping those out and being present here. So, all in all, we are back. We are thriving. We are fucking well, ladies. And on that note, I will see you right here next time on Ironically Serious. Bye.